In this video, we'll talk about arrays 2, which is essentially going to consist of two-dimensional arrays. So what are two-dimensional arrays? Arrays that have two dimensions. So we usually use two-dimensional arrays in the applications of matrix. Let's say we have a matrix A with elements of 5, 6, 8, and 4. So how do we represent this in a single array? First we look, it's all integers. So we just use integer A, 2, 2. Alright, now take note of this. And this. The first, the first number in the bracket represents the number of rows you have in the array. The second one represents the number of columns that you have. Say for example, I'm creating a 3 by 2 matrix. A 3 by 2 matrix. So essentially, I've created a matrix that can hold 3 rows, A, B, C, and 2 columns, D, E, F. Just created this. So remember I said that in arrays it starts from 0. So from here we have 0 to 3 and 0 to 2. So essentially we have 3 columns and 4 rows. But remember what I said, the final column and row is reserved for null character. That's why we still have a 3 by 2 matrix and not a 4 by 3 matrix, because at the end over here and here is represented by null characters all the way. So next we have to understand the coordinates of a matrix. Coordinates of matrix. Now remember, what is a subscript? Example, I'm creating a one-dimensional array. Let's say name 5. So created this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now each of these are called subscripts, as I've mentioned in a previous video, and each of this will have its own element. Let's say integer. I have 2, 3, 4, 6, 1, 3. Now see the last thing over here, it's actually supposed to be a null character. I made a mistake just now. Supposed to be a null character. Now how do I call each of this element out? I just have to call probably name 0, then the output will be 2, or name 1, the output will be 3. But how do I call a two-dimensional array? How do I get its address? Well, we can call it like this. You have to remember the coordinates that I've taught. Let's say 5, 6, 8, 4. The coordinates for 5 over here is 0, 0. For 6 is 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1. So if the name of this variable is A, I can just call A10, and it will give me 8. we have to remember the coordinates. It's important for matrices. Let's say in multiplication, in finding the determinant, or probably finding the inverse, and loads other more you can do by understanding coordinates. Now please go through this again. You have to understand that why 5 is 0, 0, because it's on the first row, the first column, so it's 0, 0. For 6 is on the first row, second column, so increase this by 1. For this, it's the second row, first column, so it's 1, 0. This is the second row, second column, 1, 1. Remember why it's not 2, 2 or 2, 1 is because we start from 0. Remember that. We always start from 0. So that's all for this video. I hope you have understood on two-dimensional arrays. And probably in the applications part, I'll talk about more about matrices.